Alright, Shalom. You reached the He Prayed channel. My name is Azim Mawar. First and foremost, I want to say, call Halayim Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Harakak. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Hadarak, where I learned this truth from, who rule well. Salutations to the Bakiyar, the elect, the 144,000. It's 12,000 men from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. 12 tribes of Israel consist of you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous of America. 144,000 being the governing body within the one-third. The rest of the one-third comprises of elect men, women, and children. Shalom to those Israelites scattered due to the diaspora and also the triangular trade. So our people come looking like different ethnicities, having various complexions. So it's not a black thing. We're not the black Hebrew Israelites. We're just Hebrew Israelites. Shalom to those that die in this truth. It says the dead should be raised up first. Those that will be accompanying Yahweh Shah on his return, including our King Mashah, who is King David. And as always, it's an honor and privilege, honor and blessing to continue to do this work. The water Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Arakhakwadash for answering my prayers and permitting me to do such. Baba Kashah Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Arakhakwadash allowed us to be an edifying lesson to at least one member of the Bakiyar, Shah Hadarak, which is the elect of the way. This video is inspired by a video I saw on Instagram. I believe it was on the Tazariak's page. And they're debating about, can everyone be saved? And then they speak about the 144,000, which, now these people are being stirred in their minds. When they're hearing the word, hearing the truth of the Heavenly Father, and not the word or the lies of these damn devils and these heathen nations, man. So I'm gonna go to Zechariah. Chapter 13, verse 8. It says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land," which that word land here is singular, and this land that is speaking about is talking about America, which aligns with Revelation, the 18th chapter. That's why it says, "Lament for Babylon." Now, there was two previous Babylons, which America is that third Babylon, the end time Babylon. This is Revelation chapter 18, verse 9, "And the kings of the earth," so all these leaders of these nations who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her, that do business with America, man, and that follow after the image of America, right, shall bewail her and lament for her when they shall see the smoke of her burning. So that smoke is going to circumnavigate the whole world, man, when America is hit with 200 million warheads. And how do we know that it's 200 million? It's because America's already been destroyed in another dimension, man. That's why it foreshadows. Verse 10, it says, "Standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, Alas, alas, destroyed, destroyed, that great city Babylon," America, "that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come." It's only going to take an hour for America to be wiped off the face of the earth. And, despite this particular verse speaking about Israelites, it also applies to the place in which they reside. This is Amos chapter 9, verse 8. It says, "Behold, the eyes of Yahweh are upon the sinful kingdom." In America is that sinful kingdom, man. "And I will destroy it from off the face of the earth." So America is going to get wiped off the face of the earth with fire. "Saving that I will not utterly destroy the house of Jacob." So he's not going to utterly destroy you so-called blacks, Latinos, and indigenous. He's going to save 33.33% of you. "Save Yahweh, for lo, I will command, and I will sift the house of Yasharallah among all nations, like as a corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth." So all those that are going to be delivered in this great second death, which will be by fire, there's not going to be no one missing. It says, "All the sinners of my people, all you YNs, all you Generation Zs, all you Tontos, all you Sambos, all you Spics, that line goes back to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. When you are adversarial and you are not predestined to be delivered, right? It says, all the sinners of my people shall die by the sword." You're going to die by the sword, man. "Which say, the evil shall not overtake nor prevent us." Right. So you don't think nothing's going to happen to you and nothing's going to prevent you from following after your lust. So going back to Zechariah chapter 13, verse 8, it says, "And it shall come to pass that in all the land, save Yahweh, 2 parts therein," so 2/3, which is 66.67%, "shall be cut off and die. But the third shall be left therein." That's that 33.33%. "And I will bring the third part through the fire." So they're going to be brought through the fire. Their bodies are going to be extracted into the chariots. Your bodies are going to be dematerialized, and your spirit is going to transfer to you the bodies that are waiting for you on those chariots. "And will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them, test them as gold is tried. They shall call upon my name." So those names are important. The name of the Heavenly Father, his name is Yahweh, which means he exists. And his son's name, Yahweh Shai, means he saves or he delivers. "And I will hear them, and he will hear you." And when you build that relationship with them, on this side, I'm speaking about, you'll start to see that, certain of your prayers get answered. "I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power." Right. And, he's a great power. So going to Copilot, keyword, third remnant, shalash, carries the idea of a fraction left over. And there's only going to be remnants of nations left too. World population is going to be significantly reduced. It says the surviving portion that is purified. Layman's commentary, 2/3, 66.66%, are cut off. 1/3, 33.33%, is kept and refined. This shows the Most High is not saving everyone. He's purging the nation and keeping a refined remnant who truly call on his name. Right? And if you're truly doing something, you're going to show works. Patterns of righteousness. So this is a start up a little bit. Just start at the top. This is Revelation chapter 7, verse 1. And after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind shall not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. Now that wind, when you go to Jeremiah 50, 51, Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 1, it says, Thus saith Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon. Now this is the third Babylon, and against them that dwell in the midst of them, all you heathen nations and all you two-thirds, that rise up against me, a destroying wind. Which that destroying wind is that nuclear, what do you call it? A shock wave, maybe. Right? So before all this, jumping down to verse 3, it says, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. So that nuclear destruction ain't going to come until the elect are sealed, which we believe that the elect are sealed already, man. Right? So going back to the first verse, it says, and after these things I saw four angels standing on the four corners of the earth, holding the four winds of the earth, that the wind should not blow on the earth, nor on the sea, nor on any tree. And why is that? Why is it air and, why is it sea and land? Because even the oceans got to be cleansed. And Yahweh Shai in the kingdom, he's going to cleanse the oceans. It says, and I saw another angel ascending from the east, having the seal of the living power. And he cried with a loud voice to the four angels, to whom it was given to hurt the earth and the sea. Right, because there's an unseen world that is dictating all things, man. So you have particular messengers, because that's what the word angel means, that are holding back this destruction, or they are in charge of this destruction. Verse 3, it says, saying, hurt not the earth, neither the sea, nor the trees, till we have sealed the servants of our power in their foreheads. And this is the building of the third temple. It's not a physical temple, it's a spiritual temple. Right? So going to verse 4, where it speaks about the 144,000. Now this is the governing body of the kingdom to come. Right? And I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Yasha'Allah. Of the tribe of Judah were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Right. Hold on just a minute. I'm trying to get further the name. Shalaki. Well, for future reference, I'll do it in the Lashon Kodash. But for Judah, Yahweh is going to be you American, so-called American blacks, right? And I believe it's Rob Juan Reuben is going to be the Seminole Indians, and then Gad is going to be you and so-called Native Americans. Hold on. Mm, all right. All right, Salaki, I'll do it over again. This is Revelation chapter 7, verse 4. It says, And I heard the name, and I heard the number of them that were sealed, and there were sealed 144,000 of all the tribes of the children of Yasher Allah. Of the tribe of Yahweh were sealed 12,000, right? Of the tribe of Rahaban were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Ashar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Naphtali were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Manasseh were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Shamawan were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Laya were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Yashakar were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Zabalawan were sealed 12,000. Of the which Joseph and Ephraim are the same. Of the tribe of Parayim were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Badyamim were sealed 12,000. Right? So I'm going to read it again verbatim, and then give you the actual identification of the tribes. So starting at Revelation chapter 7, verse 5, it says, Of the tribe of Judah, which you Judites, or you so-called blacks, you Negroes, right, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Reuben, which is you Seminole Indians, were sealed 12,000. Of the tribe of Gad, which is you so-called Native Americans, that were called Indians were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Asher is from Colombia to Uruguay. The Incas were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Nephilim, which is the Argentina to Chile, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Manassas, which is you Cubans, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Simeon, which is you Dominicans, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Levi, which is you Haitians, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Yashikar, which is you so-called Mexicans, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Zabulon, which is from Guatemala to Panama, the Mayans, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Joseph, which is you so-called Puerto Ricans, were still 12,000. Of the tribe of Benjamin, which is you so-called Jamaicans, were still 12,000. Right? So going back to going back to Copilot, keyword sealed in the Greek, spragizo, means stamped, marked, right? Which that's the same mark as far as the seal in the vision of slaughter, right? There's going to be a great slaughter here in America. This is Ezekiel chapter 9, verse 1. It says, He cried also in my ears with a loud voice, saying, Cause them that have charge over the city to draw near, even every man with his destroying weapon in his hand. And behold, 6 men came from the way of the higher gate, which lieth toward the north, and every man a slaughter weapon in his hand. And one man among them was clothed with linen, with the writer's inkhorn by his side, which this is an angel. And they went in and stood beside the brazen altar. And the glory of the power of Yasharahla was gone up from the cherub whereupon he was, to the threshold of the house. And he called to the man clothed with linen, which is an angel, which had the writer's inkhorn by his side. And Yahweh said unto him, Go through the midst of the city, through the midst of Jerusalem, which is dealing with you Israelites, and set a mark upon the foreheads of the men that sigh and that cry for all the abominations that be done in the midst thereof. So let's go to that word mark.
Strong's H8420. Tav.
Which mark as a sign of exemption from judgment. Right? So, which goes back to being sealed. It says secured, like putting a royal seal on something that belongs to you and is protected. Layman's commentary. The 144,000 are the inner circle of the remnant, marked off as belonging to the Most High. They match the refined 1/3 idea, a select group inside the nation, not the whole crowd. Right? Because the 144,000 are the governing body. Now, going back to Revelation chapter 7, verse 9, it says, A multitude from the tribulation. Now, this multitude that is speaking about is talking about the Israelites that are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, because the salvation is going to take place in America, man. Let me get a preset real quick that just crossed my mind. So I'm going to go to the Apocrypha Wisdom of Solomon, I believe it's chapter 5. And switch to the standard KJV. So this is Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 5, verse 1. It says, Then shall the righteous man stand in great boldness before the face of such as have afflicted him. And who are the ones that have afflicted us? This so-called white man who was Esau. And through us standing in great boldness is out there teaching his word and pronouncing judgments. And made no account of his labors, right? Because you Jakes always crying about reparations. They're never going to have the spirit in them to give you reparations. But if you seek after Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is going to give you the heathen as your reparations. Right? It says when they see it, and where are they going to see it? You know, they're seeing it right now. They're seeing Jake stand upon their feet, and they're terrified, man, because they're hearing the message. You know, they're terrified of the message. It's like a tingle in their ears. It's making their ears tingle, man. It says they shall be troubled with terrible fear, and you know these devils is terrified and with terrible fear, man. You know, so they're trying to scramble, you know, the Cerebus dogs of Christianity to try to, you know, defend them being able to walk off into the sunset after all the atrocities that they've committed, man. You know, but, you know, the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua and his word is putting an end to that shit, man. It says, and shall be amazed because they're going to see the ships of, or the chariots of Yahshua and Yahushua and the armies, the angels cracking those clouds, man. At the strangeness of his salvation, they're going to see a great extraction, just like you get extracted in, you know, Call of Duty, or, you know, they extract you out of a war zone and take you up into a ship or a helo. It's the same way we're going to get taken out of this place, all while you see 200 million nuclear warheads in this place. It says so far beyond all that they looked for. They're not expecting it. It's going to be amazing, and it's going to glorify the names of Yahweh, Yahushua on earth again, man. This is going to be the new Egypt. It says a multitude from the tribulation, Revelation chapter 7, verse 9. After this I beheld, and lo, a great multitude, which is Israelite foreigners, which no man could number, of all nations and kindreds and people and tongues, stood before the throne and before the Lamb, clothed with white robes and palms in their hands. And that is the clue that is talking about Israelites, man. This is real quick. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 1. It says, For Yahweh will have mercy on Jacob and will yet choose Israel and set them in their own land, and the strangers, which is the same multitude in Revelation the 7th chapter, shall be joined with them, and they shall cleave to the house of Jacob. Right? Verse 10, it says in Revelation chapter 7, verse 10, it says, And cry with a loud voice, saying, Salvation to our power which sitteth upon the throne, and unto the Lamb. Yet the Lamb is who the world only calls Jesus Christ, who is Yahushua. And all the angels stood round about the throne and about the elders and the four beasts, and fell before the throne on their faces and worshipped the Most High, saying, Amen, blessing and glory and wisdom and thanksgiving and honor and power and might be unto our power forever and ever. Amen. You know, so going back to Copilot, for the word multitude, kolos or oklos, a crowd, mass of people. Here, purified worshipers, not random spectators. Right? Layman's commentary, the plan isn't only the 144,000, which we'll have to understand that the 144,000 represents the governing body. There's also a huge cleansed crowd from many nations, which those individuals from many nations are Israelites. This is Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that Yahweh shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left from Assyria, which Assyria is like in the Middle East, those Middle Eastern nations, which really is Asia Major, Asia Minor, and from Egypt, and from Pathros, and from Cush, and from Elam, and from Shinar, and from Hamath, and from the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcast of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. So our people are scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, man. That's why they're going to be delivered out of many nations. And they're going to also look like heathen nations, man. That's why we say it's not a black thing. That's why we don't care about your color, but we have to talk about it because it's a stronghold that was created by the damn devil, man. Right? It's a construct. It says this shows salvation extends outward, not locked to just the inner circle. Which that inner circle will be just, because Copilot goes off. That inner circle will just be those that would, you would think it would just be those that are delivered here from America, man. So, well, according to the logic of Copilot, so this is Acts chapter 2. I'm going to start at verse 27. It says, the end gathering. Acts chapter 2, verse 37. Now, when they heard this, they were pricked in their heart, which your heart is your mind, and said unto Peter and to the rest of the apostles, those that were sent forth, men and brethren, what shall we do? Then Peter said unto them, repent, meaning to turn back from your wickedness, right? And be baptized, every one of you, in the name. So the name is important, of Yahweh Shai HaMashiach, for the remission of sins. Sin is transgression against the law. And ye shall receive the gift of the Holy Ghost, the Ruach HaKodesh, which is the angels working on your mind. Because mind you, wisdom doesn't dwell in the malicious soul, right? Verse 39, for the promise is unto you and to your children. That's why it says you and your whole household, right? And to all that are afar off, those Israelites scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, even as many as Yahweh Shai or Yahweh our power shall call. And with many other words did he testify and exhort, encourage, saying, save yourselves from this untoward generation, which is really these Generation Z niggas, man. Going to Etma online, untoward 1520s, not having inclination, to or for something. A sense now obsolete, also difficult to manage, this unruly generation. Forward, perverse, not easily guided, right? And that's why you can't be mad when they get hung in a tree or they get invited on a lake fiasco where, they going through fucking rigorous Hunger Game like scenarios and obstacles. See if they could paddle. So going to keyword, uh, promise, epangelia, a committed word, a guaranteed offer from the Most High, not just a suggestion. Layman's commentary, the same salvation promise that hits the remnant also flows to their children and those scattered far away. That's your household extension, not just individual belief, but family lines touched by the call. Right? So you always have to consider that you're not just fighting for yourself, you're fighting for others as well, man. Just like Yahweh Shah. He wasn't just fighting for himself, he was fighting for his whole nation, which that was the elect. Real quick, 1 Corinthians chapter 7, verse 14, it says, for the unbelieving husband is sanctified by the wife. So if your woman believes, but her husband don't, the husband is still sanctified by the wife and her belief. It says, and the unbelieving wife is sanctified by the husband. That's why, you don't have to teach, your woman the truth. And you don't have to shove it down nobody's throat. You don't have to do a stakeout in front of a church and wait till everybody comes to try to force feed them, man. It says, else were your children unclean, but now are they holy. To be holy means to be separate, right? So going to keyword sanctified, holy, hagios, means set apart, marked off for special use, not common. Layman's commentary, a believing parent pulls the household into a set apart status. The children aren't automatically perfect, but they're inside the holy zone, under the cover of that faith. This backs salvation's reach to children, right? Especially if you have little ones, they're not under the law until they're 12. This is in case you have a demon as a bitch. This is Galatians chapter 3, verse 28. There is neither Jew nor Greek. Why is there neither Jew nor Greek? Because a lot of these people will say, oh, well, they think that all Greeks were white, man, and that's not the truth. The Greeks were, a lot of the Greeks were Hellenized Israelites, man, that were followed after Greek customs. So, when the apostles went to go teach in these different regions, they were teaching to Israelites living in those regions. It says there is neither bond nor free. There is neither male nor female, for ye are all one in Hamashiach Yahweh Shah. And if ye be Hamashiachs, then are ye Abraham's seed, and heirs according to the promise. So you have to be from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's the spirit of these devils and these heathen nations. They always want to be a part of something they're not invited to. Keyword 1, he is. Not just similar, but united into one body, one status. Layman's commentary, inside Hamashiach, women are not second tier. The same salvation that refines the remnant covers believing sisters. They stand as full members of the body, not side notes. Right. Let me try to stack them up real quick. Because a lot of things that people miss is that the New Testament just quotes the Old Testament. They're all saying the same thing. But this is the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 32. It says, "And it shall come to pass that whosoever shall call the name of Yahweh shall be delivered. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem shall be deliverance, as Yahweh has said, and in the remnant whom Yahweh shall call." So Paul quotes Joel the prophet here in Romans, to the Israelites in Rome. In Romans chapter 10, verse 13, it says, "For whosoever shall call upon the name of Yahweh shall be saved," which really is Yahweh Yahweh Shai, because we have to call on Yahweh Shai, because he's the door, man. So we have to have faith and believe in Yahweh Shai. Because, not until we get into the new bodies, Yahweh is not dealing with us. It says, "How then shall they call on him in whom they have not believed? And how shall they believe in him of whom they have not heard?" Because Yahweh wants Yahweh Shai to be glorified, man. Right? "And how shall they hear without a preacher? And now, Slaki, and how shall they preach except they be sent? As it is written, how beautiful are the feet of them that preach the gospel of peace and bring glad tidings of good things." Right? So going back to the Copilot, keyword call, epicalio, to cry out, invoke, appeal to, not just know about him, but lean on him openly. Right? You can't be ashamed. Layman's commentary, "The refined 1/3, the sealed 144K, the great multitude, women and children under believing households all connect on this line. Those who truly call on his name and are the ones delivered." Slaki, those who truly call on his name are the ones delivered. The math, 33.33% versus 66.66%, shows not all make it. But the door is real and open to any who call, believe, and stay under that refining fire. Right? And this is only applying to you so-called blacks, Latinos, and the Native Americans that are in America and scattered throughout the four corners of the earth, man. All you other non-Israelite nations, you're going to be destroyed. And you're going to be reduced to remnants. And the majority of your remnants is going to be your rich elite that are going to be the first slaves that are going to bring you back into the kingdom of heaven in your next life as slaves for 1,000 years. And then with you so-called white people, after that 1,000 years is complete, you're going to be exterminated. So with that, I hope at least one member of the Bakayah Darak was edified. And I'm going to say Shabbat Shalom.